Hello, truth seekers. Lawrence here, and welcome back to the channel. So, if you want to be free in the relative world, the functioning world where we have to engage with the people, then we must learn to die in our ego self. Until our ego softens and dissolves completely, the fight will continue. The conflict will always resurface. And the reason to, face this conflict is because we have certain preference in our lives and the world have their own preference, And sometimes our preference do match and we can work together and make things happen. And sometimes the preferences don't match. The belief don't go together. And that's where we start to face the conflict. The reason to face this conflict is because of our own mental construct and emotional construct, and all these constructs are coming from the place of experience. And sometimes the world has upgraded to a certain extent and we are not to that level, and vice versa. And because of that, the conflict resurface. And not to get affected when the conflict resurface is by investigating in our own conflict. And that's the way to creating the death of the ego, or dissolving the ego in oneself. Only dissolving the ego in oneself can help us to move forward, to be part of the world with ease, with understanding. Until we do the thorough investment on our own mental construct and emotional construct, and without that, the conflict will continue. So we know how much conflict we are facing with the world, right? And from that we can step back and investigate, why do we experience this conflict? Where is this conflict coming from? And if we start to investigate on our own mental and emotional construct, then it will help us to see the root cause of the surface conflict. And eventually we have to dissolve the root as well, which is dissolving the all meaning, all reasoning at the base. And when we do that, then we see the plain sight truth. Seeing the plain sight truth will help us dissolve all ego in oneself. And then after dissolving the ego, dissolving the mind completely, and when you come back in the world to be part of the world, be part of the any flow with anybody, comes from the place of understanding, comes from the place of awareness. And there's ease in the person, ease in the individual. And when we have that ease, even the conflict is there, then we can figure out how to, dissolve the conflict without getting lost with that mental drama, emotional drama. So if you are seeking that ease, even in the time of conflict, and move with complete ease, complete clarity, then one must learn to die in the ego self. Ego is this. Ego is the one thing that is, so stubborn in everyone's life at some point, and that stubborn ego is the one that creates real friction, real fight with the world. And also that fight comes within, and with that fight we create a further story in our head. That story goes in the mental sense, emotional sense, even psychological sense. The construct will happen, and that's where we lose ourselves in the story. So not to lose ourselves in the story is by looking and investigating in the mental, emotional, psychological construct. If you focus on the mental construct and trace it back to its root, that will already help us to see the emotional and psychological construct, the subtle construct of oneself, the subtle construct of the ego. We can see that. So, again, if you don't want to be involved in the fight with ourselves and the world, investigation is important. So, finding ease in life, finding freedom in life is about, dissolving the ego, and that itself is called the death of the ego. And death of the ego brings real peace in oneself. So anyway, thanks for listening. Yeah, trace your conflict back and see how far you can trace it back today. And if you're struggling to trace it back, that's the start, because you're probably new to tracing back the mind. Making a habit will help us to trace back further to see the further roots, and that's the process. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. Hope you're doing great. Yeah, take care for now. Bye.